everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Football Card Podcast. This is a new series on the channel which we will be joined by a good friend of mine, Toby. Say hello.
Hello everyone, how are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing fantastically well. So this is the first episode of this little podcast series which will keep us going, hopefully for a long time, you never know. But it's very exciting when we'll be talking all things football cards, maybe some other trading card collections, and talk about the football card YouTuber industry as well as a whole, because I've done a little bit of a look into that as well, so that's quite exciting. But yeah, basically as we go through these podcast videos, they'll all be premiered live on the GBW YouTube channel. So as we go through these videos on the premiere, feel free to donate and help us out for us to create future ones. So obviously we can spend a bit more, get a little setup going, you know. So feel free to donate. These will all be premiered live on the GBW YouTube channel. So it's up to you guys, I suppose. But we won't be annoyed if you don't. It's purely for your entertainment, obviously. So Tobias, tell us a bit about your history of Match ATTAX, because a lot of people wouldn't know you.
So I've been collecting football cards and stickers for as long as I can remember, probably 20 years now. And I collected the first ever Premier League Match ATTAX set in 2007. Absolutely love the cards, and I got the bug then and have collected ever since really. And it's taken me, you know, sort of to cards and collections across the world. I've done a little bit of work as well for Tops here and there at some of their festivals and tours as well. So it's been a big part of me sort of to where I am now today, really.
Well, you might recognise this fella as one of the Match ATTAX Masters at the Tops Festival. Later down the line, we are thinking of getting a few other Match ATTAX Masters on the podcast, just to talk how to be good at Match ATTAX, essentially, because these guys are masters, they know how to do it. So that's a future podcast coming. I'll make sure to smash the like button for that. But yeah, it's very nice to have you on the podcast Toby. You're going to be in quite a few of the episodes, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and really looking forward to it. Being able to discuss a hobby and a passion like this is, should be fun, should be enjoyable.
It should be fun indeed. So basically the first episode, this is very exciting. We're going to be reviewing Match ATTAX 2019-20s, as this includes the main set, the extra set, and the Match ATTAX 101 set. Now, obviously, it was the first set was released in August. Late August it was released. Usually released in September. This was the first collection where it's solely Champions League and Europa League. No Premier League edition for Match ATTAX this year. Obviously, Panini took the rights to that. And it basically features, as you can see on the front of the cover here, Champions League and Europa League. And we're going to be talking about what are the good subsets, the good products, you know, etc. for this one, the Match ATTAX Extra one, and the Match ATTAX 101. So three pretty good collections. But firstly, Toby, what did you think of the first collection, the main collection?
I think initially, like most people, everyone was quite excited. Everyone was thinking, oh, okay, what are Topps going to do? Are they going to innovate? I think that changed drastically. And obviously the early release date and the launch date was, everyone was like, wow, okay, they're really going to hit the ground running this year. And then it sort of came out and you sort of saw the set, and there were some really nice things in there, but there were also a few little bit underwhelming things that sort of just took away some of that initial excitement for me.
It's just a bit meh overall, really, wasn't it? The first collection, it was good. It was nicely designed. Quite a few of the cards were nicely designed, as we'll get onto in a minute. But I just don't think it wasn't groundbreaking, and it wasn't anything special. There was quite a few errors, as we'll get onto in a minute as well, which you can't be having in a collection like that. They had plenty of time to release it a little bit later, but they wanted to get it out first, and that's what I think happened.
No, I agree. I think what it was is they obviously wanted to go head to head with Panini this year, probably the first time in a while on a domestic season that they've had the opportunity to go head to head with Panini, because obviously they've held both the Premier League and Champions League licenses together for the last couple of seasons, so there hasn't been any real direct competition. And they thought they'd jump the gun, try and get it out there, try and obviously attract, I suppose, the collectors they've had over the last few years. And not sure whether it worked or not. Obviously, they've got this Champions League licence, I think, until at least 2021, possibly 2022, before the bidding cycle opens again. And yeah, I think I agree. I think that they really tried to sort of jump the gun and get it out there early as possible to get everyone back with the sort of the Match ATTAX collecting bug. And I'm not sure if it worked or not, really.
No, because obviously this is the UK edition we're talking about here. They're released all over Europe, and the European editions were far better. And there was much less errors, as you know, because you collected quite a few of the international editions, especially the German one. I mean, I've seen a few clips of that on YouTube, and it is fantastic. That you've got all the teams, you've got equal amount of players for each team, and it just works really well. But the UK one, nothing special, I'm afraid.
No, I'd agree. I think that the European ones are far better thought out. As I say, I think just looking at them in an album, you're quite right. The way they're laid out, the number of cards per team, was all very neat and all very nice. And I think it's a bit of a shame, really, that European collectors almost got a better deal, certainly to begin with, compared to the UK collectors, really.
Absolutely. So in terms of the card design for ATTAX 2019-20 main collection, the one released in August, there's the base cards. Now, these were, I think, quite a nice design. They're quite simple, yet they did seem to work quite nicely, actually, all in a big group, especially the teams of 9, which is why it's such a shame they didn't include full pages of 18 cards for all the teams in the collection, so I think it would have looked really nice. But I'm holding the Van Dijk base card here, which looks pretty cool, nicely designed card. 90 defence, obviously, for Van Dijk, but yeah, obviously it's got the stats on the side, as the little mini stats. A lot of people don't really like them, but talk us through a couple of the other designs, Tobias.
Again, I agree. I really like the base card design. In particular, for me, I love the fact that on the background of each card, they sort of incorporated a little bit of the club logo. I think that's a really nice touch. One of the other things that stands out for me is obviously the players are quite prominent on the card, which is good. And I always think that's important with any football card, that the player is over and above everything else on the card, that the player is at the front of the card. A few of the other base card designs, obviously I've got here one of the badge cards from my favourite club, Arsenal. Again, fairly simplistic. What I like on the front of the card, though, is it details the trophies won in European competitions by the clubs. So obviously, unfortunately for Arsenal, there's next to nothing on the card for trophies, but for other clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, I'm sure there's quite a few. What I like on the back, though, is the addition of the stats on the back and a little bit more information about the club. So I'm not sure if you can quite see that, but again, it lists the manager, the club captain, the date the club was founded, the stadium and the capacity of the stadium, and obviously last year's European performance as well, which I think is a really nice touch, and just gives collectors that little bit more information and a few little nuggets to sort of take away and put in their brains, really, to take forward and use, which is quite good. Another card design I've got here, again, this wasn't one that was released in the European release, I don't believe, it was just in the UK, and I think it was only the English teams that had these cards, but it was the duo cards. I've never been much of a fan of having two players on one card. I don't really see the point in them, but saying that, again, the design's simplistic. Both players get featured on the front fairly prominently. Little bit sort of zoomed out. It's not too bad. But yeah, it's not a bad design. Again, duos aren't my favourite, but all in all, I think the base set itself was fairly well designed. So credit to Topps for that, really.
So if we had to rate the base set out of 10, what would we say? I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
100% agree. I think seven's a fair score.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for the base set.
I'd have rather had an additional player, like a 17th player, rather than two players that already had a base card repeated again. But that's just my personal preference.
So obviously, the next card design was the silvers, or the silver insert cards, and obviously we've got the MVPs and the man of the matches. Here's an MVP. I'm not going to lie, I don't like these designs. I think it's a bit basic. It's nothing special. But then again, the silver insert cards aren't anything special. Let's be honest. They're one in every other pack. So it's nothing to get excited about. They do look quite nicely all together on one page, but definitely not the strongest silver. Well, definitely not the strongest man of the match card design we've seen in recent years, I have to say.
I agree. I think the biggest disappointment for me is that the man of the match cards and anything sort of like this has always been like a rainbow foil. And these are quite a bland silver, with slightly metallic colour scheme to them, depending on the club's colours at the back. There's no real rainbow shine across them, which I think is a big shame, because it's always been a big sort of thing for me that the man of the match design, or the MVPs is designed similarly, they're quite colourful, they're quite bright. The one thing I do like, though, is that on the back of the cards, or not the back of the cards, but in the background of the cards, There's sort of a second picture of the player, which is quite neat. It's quite small, but again, sort of a little action shot of the player, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they're not all that well designed. I think they're a little bit underwhelming and disappointing.
Yeah, spot on. I think if we're going to rate subsets, man of the matches, they're incredible. We know man of the matches. That's what match attacks are essentially famous for. Really, their man of the match is the 100 cards, which we'll get into in a minute. But I do think the design has to be a bit more embossed, a bit more oomph about it, because it's such a sought after subset. When you say you've got all those man of the matches, it's epic. But if I'd have to give a rating for the design of these silver cards, and in terms of the subset, kind of combining the two in terms of rating the subset and the design, I'll probably give it a 5 or 6. I think the design of the MVP is pretty much the same as man of the match. It was very lazy, and man of the matches, as we know, the design, the quality of the card is really nothing special. But the name of man of the match as a subset is incredible, and it has to stay. That's what match attacks are made for. And MVP, again, I don't think it's anything special. I don't know about you. 5 out of 10.
I agree. I think 5 out of 10 for the man of the match design itself is probably fair. I think the having embossed cards has always been sort of part of match attack, and for them to not really have that slight embossed feel this year, or not as great as it has in the past, is a big letdown. I also think the quantity as well. In years gone by, man of the match cards have been one of the hardest subsets to complete. It's always really rewarding when you get one. But to only have sort of 18 in the main set was sort of a bit of a disappointment, really. Sort of felt like, they're going to be fairly easy to complete, and it takes away from sort of the specialness of the cards. So I think that's fair. I think MVPs, what's the difference between a man of the match and an MVP? There's not too much in it. Again, it's a bit of a pointless addition, really. They could have gone down a slightly different route. So again, I think a 5 out of 10 is a fair argument there. I would agree.
So the next card designs or subsets were the gold insert cards. Now this is where we're getting a little bit more juicy in terms of the insert cards. So yeah, record holders are the rarest subset in this collection. There's 4 of them to collect, and 1 in 24 7-card packs. Hat-trick heroes are 1 in every 16. There's 6 of those to collect. Centurions are 1 in 16 as well. There's also 6 of those. Then 100 clubs are 1 in 9.6. And the club legends, nothing special. They're 1 in every 6. So they're the easiest ones to find out, these club legends. And I have to say, the club legend design is fantastic. It really is. I really like the 2 or the 3 old pictures. Is it 2? No, it's 2 old pictures on the side. Then we've got obviously defence and attack, Europa League appearances there, but it's a really nice design actually for the club legends, and I'd say that's about right for a 1 in 6 insert card. I think that's about right, and in terms of quality of the subset as well.
No, I agree. I think the club legends are possibly one of the nicest design cards in the set. I'm going to move on now and talk about the Centurion cards. Again, got Thomas Muller here in front of me. It's a fairly simplistic gold design card, but again, I like the fact that for Centurions they're using a gold design. I think that's important, and you probably can't quite tell. It's only something I've just noticed, but just under the Centurion, there's a little 100, which I've only just noticed now actually. That's sort of in white, sort of faded white writing, which is quite a nice addition to the card to signify that they've made 100 appearances. The background's pretty simplistic and basic. There's not too much to it. So on Muller's card there's some red and yellow colours, but yeah, it's a fairly nice card. Not too much different to say really compared to the club legends. So yeah, it's quite a nice little subset.
I do think they've reused quite a lot of the basic templates for these gold insert cards, which is a big shame. It is a big shame. It brings down the overall gold rating to, I'd probably say, a 6 out of 10, because they've reused, and it just doesn't make the higher rated ones like hat-trick heroes, which I'm showing you now, Lionel Messi hat-trick hero, it doesn't make it as sought after, because it's 1 in 24 packs or whatever it was, and it's pretty much the same as getting a club legend, which is a big shame, which is 1 in 6. So I'm not a massive fan of that. They've got to be more original when it comes to card designs in terms of different subsets. Dare I say it's something Panini does very, very well. They've got all sorts of different card designs for all the different subsets, and it is so much more unique when you get a certain insert card. But the hat-trick hero design nonetheless is really nice with the 3 match balls above the hero and hat-trick bit. It looks quite nice, but as I said, it's nothing to write home about.
No, I'd agree. I mean, I've got one of the record holders here, and again, it's they're meant to be the rarest subset in the collection, and they're no different to as you say, Jack, the 1 in 6 Club Legends. And I think had the gold design just been for the Club Legends, then yeah, you could probably have said 8 out of 10, really nice design, some good features. But the fact that they use the template across the board, yeah, I probably agree. It drags it down to a 6, possibly even a 5 for me, which is a shame because. Again, like you say, Panini are quite inventive. They come up with some good different designs, and I just think, just reflecting on the set as a whole again, they're sort of missing out on, I know I talked about rainbow foil, but mirror foil cards, which have been a big part of sort of Topps' previous collections. And again, not to use that here, I think it's a bit of a mistake, really. It would have added a little bit of variance and made it a little bit different, and something different for your album, really.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, it is a big shame they haven't included more different designs, because it would have, as we said, it would have made it a bit more of a higher rating in terms of the overall rating for the gold inserts. The hat-trick heroes, yeah, the Eric's a cool design, but the Club Legend is the best design out of the gold ones, and that's saying something. That's the 1 in 6 insert cards one, or 1 in 6 pack, should I say? But that should be for the rarest subset. The best design should be for the more rarer cards. So, and they have to be better quality, as we know, but. That's the way of the road with Topps, unfortunately, especially for this collection. It's a big shame. They did rush this collection, and I think we all know this. It's a big rush from Topps. But if we move on to the 100 clubs, which is nice and easy, very nice design, fantastic blue design. I'm a big advocate for the colour blue, and obviously there's 1,100 clubs in this collection. They've done this for quite a few years in a row now, in the Champions League collections especially. But it's really nice. They've got a full team of 11, and there is Kylian Mbappe's 100 club. But it does look really nice. The sea of blue at the back of your binder is fantastic, and I think it's arguably one of the best 100 club designs in a while. I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
I'd agree. I think 9 out of 10 is a fair score. I think the cards are a brilliant design. I think the blue suits the cards really well. Champions League, blue is the colour of the Champions League. What a great choice, I think. And I also like the little gold details as well. I think the gold details have a nice touch. So yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, no,
it is. They've done very well with that. They're not high quality cards. None of the cards are in this collection, which is a big shame. But that's the way of the road. But 100 clubs definitely they bring up this collection as a whole, and the Match-Tax Extra one for that matter. They're really nicely designed. But if we move on to the limited editions, now we've got a few talking points of this one. We're going to be talking about the quantity, the rarity, and obviously the players chosen. Now we've got Mohamed Salah, Jadon Sancho, Eden Hazard, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Harry Kane, Sterling, Aubameyang, Rashford, Pulisic, and Suarez. Suarez is only as a gold variant. That's quite a lot of limited edition cards, if I say so myself.
Obviously, on top of that, you've got the online exclusives, which are quite a controversial inclusion of Ronaldo, Aguero, Van Dijk, Neuer, Ramos, and Leroy Sané. So yeah, I think that's 36 for the entire set, which is an awful lot. And obviously, as we know, limited editions are available with particular products or magazines or deals. And for anyone collecting, whether that be an adult or a child, that is a lot of money to have to part with to get a full set of limited editions.
Yeah, that I think that draws a lot of, especially parents, away from collecting Match-Tax, especially because they put these cards on the checklist as well. It is a big shame, because it makes it feel like you have to get these limited editions when realistically you don't. You don't have to get limited editions, in my eyes, to complete a Match-Tax collection. But I've got all of them, as I'll show you in a minute. But I'm sure Toby has got all of them as well.
And I think you're right, and I think. I think to have a complete set, it's totally up to you as the collector what defines complete. For me, it's always been I'll collect anything and everything I can, but for a lot of people, it's what's on the checklist. And to include the limited editions on the checklist this year, really controversial. I don't think it made some of the parents particularly happy of younger collectors, because obviously if a kid sees that on an album insert, then naturally they're going to want to get the cards that they see on the binder checklist. So a little bit controversial. But yeah, I agree with you, Jack, on that. I think it's up to whoever the collector is, really what they define as a complete collection.
Absolutely. And in terms of the player choices, some fantastic choices in there. We've got a range of Europa League teams, but it is very Premier League orientated with Aubameyang, Sterling and Kane and Rashford and Pulisic. I mean, we know you've lost the licensing to the Premier League, but you need to get some better names out there because Pulisic is nothing special. There are so many better players out there you could get limited edition. They don't have to be forwards. You can get defensive limited edition now. It's very positionist, as they say in the industry.
I just wanted to say that, yeah, I agree. I think that, it is Premier League heavy and we can understand why. We understand that. But I think, for me, the biggest issue I have with the player choices is that I think it's possibly only Jadon Sancho, possibly Mbappe as well, if my memory serves me correctly, that haven't had, maybe it's Pulisic, that haven't had a limited edition card in another top set before. In fact, I think it's just Pulisic and Sancho, sorry. So again, they're recycling a few of the same players, which for me is always a bit disappointing. I always like to see new players and sort of some variants because it's nice to freshen things up once in a while.
Absolutely, but in terms of the card design, it is nice. It really is nice. They all look really nicely together, especially all the golds, all the silvers, all the bronzes. So I'd have to say, in total, out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6. And the card design brings it up a lot because some of these cards are worth 50 quid plus. I'm pretty sure they are. So
I think the Sancho bronze itself is worth over 100 these days. It's
100.
Yeah, it's people are paying a small premium for it, and I think the Aubameyang, you're quite right, the Aubameyang bronze is well over 70 as well. So yeah, people are paying a lot of money for these cards.
It's a big shame.
Yeah, limited editions, it's in the name. You want them to be limited in quantity or number, but at the same time, there should be a degree of affordability with them and an opportunity certainly for everyone to get hold of them if they wanted to. But I agree. I think that if you were to rate the subset overall, probably a 6 or a 7's a fair score. But in terms of the design, I really like the designs. For design itself, I'd say possibly 8, maybe even 9. The design is quite nice. But yeah, I think overall as a subset, I'd agree with your rating.
Yeah, no, I agree. But obviously they've also chucked in those Topps.com exclusives, basically the ones from the international set, which, as you mentioned earlier, that's a bit tin pot in my eyes. I think that's just making up the numbers. That's making up excuses to shop at Topps.com, which, don't get me wrong, is pretty good. Topps.com offers some fantastic Web Wednesday deals. We'll leave a link in the description to the Topps.com website. Obviously some on-demand cards on there as well. Not much football being played at the moment, though, as we know. But yeah, I mean, that's the core of the collection done. We've got that out of the way. There's obviously the other subsets, as in the Super Squad. We've got the Wonder Kids, we've got the Super Boost Strikers, and I believe there might be one more. I think there is one more, which I haven't got.
The Wonder Kids. World Class Superstars, as well as the other one I've got here.
So yeah, there's an orange design for the Strikers, green for the Wonder Kids, purple for the Super Squad, which actually is arguably the best design of the whole collection, those Super Squad players. I really like
Game Changers as well, Jack.
Game Changers, yeah. Here. But I mean, look, the Super Squad, I really do think that's the best design and quality of card in the whole collection.
I agree. I think the Super Squad, great addition. I love the fact that they're just there in the starter pack as well. I think that's really nice from Topps just to include a subset to start your collection as well. They're nice rated cards. They're good players. A great way to start the collection. And a real decent array of different players from across the Champions League in there, which is good.
So Toby has a few extra exclusive cards which he's managed to pick up on his travels, essentially. Introduce them.
Okay, so the first one is the sort of elusive MatchTac Master card. There's the front of the card, there's the back of the card. Obviously, this could only be won by beating a MatchTac Master at one of the Topps festivals back in October half term. I think these were quite difficult to get hold of this year compared to previous years. I think the game had changed slightly, which had, in terms of the values of the players, it made it difficult to come up with a winning team. Again, it's quite a nice addition to the set. I was lucky enough to get one for being a MatchTac Master, but again, if you've got one of those, it adds a little bit to your set. And the other card I want to show you is the Topps official signed Jordi Alba base card. I don't know if you can see there, it's got the top certified autograph strip, which makes it official. Interestingly, they don't include a hologram on these. Normally they'd have one on the front of the back, but they've just gone with the certified strip this year. That was available in Sainsbury's. It's available in Sainsbury's. I don't know if it was one per store or if it was one per box. I don't think there's too many of them around, so I might think it's one per store.
So if we were to rate that collection out of 10, I'd probably give that a, I'd have to say a 5. 5 out of 10 for the ATTAX main collection. It was rushed, as we said before, nothing special. They've got to add legend cards for next season. They've got to. It is paramount. Legend cards are incredible. We all love a footballing legend, don't we? We're talking like Zidane, Ori, some good players. We want some legends to collect for next season. That's what I personally want.
I think you're quite right. I think legends would be a great addition to any set, and I agree. I think I've got a nice full binder here, but I think Topps knew that they could sort of do a little bit better with this set going forwards. It's not to say that there's some nice features. I think a 5's a fair score. Areas where it really excels, like we've said. But yeah, I think there's room for improvement. I think that Topps probably know, and they've probably got some ideas up their sleeve to up it for whenever football returns next season and we get some new collections. But yeah, I agree with that, Jack.
Obviously, there is a few errors in here, like there's David Luiz, there's Ashley Young, as I showed you. There's we'll get to him in a minute, but Varane, man of the match card, we'll show him in both collections in a minute. So yeah, there is quite a few errors in this ATTAX UK edition, which is a big shame. They did correct a few of an on-demand update set, but for me, it doesn't make up for what is really quite a poor collection, I'd have to say, for Topps' standards. So, moving on, let's do ATTAX Extra. So, quite a lot of the cards in this collection are the same, so we won't go into too much detail about them. And then we've got the flashbacks, which are pretty cool. I like the flashbacks. We'll show you a flashback. So they're pretty much the same as a base card, except they've got a nice bluish design to them. So they're pretty cool, I have to say.
Orange, I'll get one of the Europa League ones out just now, but yeah, they've got a nice orange design for the Europa League if it's a Europa League flashback card, like so.
But yeah, this is all similar to the base cards of the main collection, so we won't do too much detail. The ATTAX main collection is the one we're doing the most detail in, I think, because ATTAX Extra is pretty much the same but different players, apart from one player. We'll get to him now. Let's go to him now, shall we? Raphael Varane, where are you, my good friend? Are you a friend, though? I don't think you are anymore. There he is, Raphael Varane, ATTAX Extra, man of the match. Now, you may be thinking, GBW, what is wrong with having Varane as man of the match? I'll tell you what, he was in the main collection as well. The exact same card. There, you've got him up. I love that.
Main collection card here, yeah. Exactly
the same stats, same value, same individual stats, just a different card number and a different picture in the front and in the background. It is criminal. That is arguably one of the biggest errors Topps have ever made in terms of ATTAX in recent years, particularly.
I would agree. I think think about some of the players that Real Madrid have got playing for them at the moment as well. They could have picked anyone else for that second extra man of the match card, and somehow it ended up being Varane again. Bizarre.
Yeah, it really is bizarre. But obviously in this ATTAX Extra there's away kits, and these are very good for when you're playing the ATTAX game. We'll go into a bit more detail about these when it comes to gameplay in a future podcast. Make sure to comment down below and smash like for that. But away kits are fantastic for the ATTAX game, they really are. And the design, pretty similar to the base card, as you know. Well, let's get one on the screen now, shall we? Let's get Kyle Walker. So it's 9 million, 85 defence, pretty similar to a base card. But obviously, if you do win a point with these, you score 2 goals compared to the 1, which is very decent, and definitely worth getting one of those or 2 of those if you're feeling cheeky into your team.
Oh, absolutely. I will move on now and show you one of the sort of new additions that they added as well, which is the action cards. Something that we've seen in some of the German releases previously, where rather than have sort of the player dropped onto a particular background, a particular colour background, they've literally just taken the player in the setting that they're in. So all from Champions League games this season, and like Timo Werner here, he is in a game from the Champions League earlier this season, and as you can see in the background, you can see a couple of the stewards, some advertising hoardings. It just says action down the side. It's a nice little addition. Nothing too amazing, but yeah, just something a little bit different, which is always good.
So what would we rate the base card slash, there's a few other insert card kind of base cards in there, like the duos from the main collection. I'd probably give it the same, maybe a bit less, because there's too many base cards, I think. Too many base card inserts. They needed to maybe get a few of the gold ones in there to use on the superstar strikers, or maybe use some of the super squad designs from the main collection. Why has that not been reused? I do not know. It's the best design they've done in a long time, along with 100 clubs, which we'll get into in a minute. Obviously, we'll show some of them. What would you rate the base cards then?
Probably be a 6. Again, designs are okay. There's some good elements, but also at the same time, there's probably a lot of repetition. Too many. I agree that there's probably too many. So yeah, I think 6 would be a fair score. I don't know if you agree or not, but I think 6 would probably be fair.
You're spot on. So in terms of the gold insert cards, obviously silver ones, there was man of the matches. Was there MVPs in this as well? Don't think there was. No. Wait, there was MVPs, but they were base cards.
Oh, of course they were.
Yeah, so
a bit strange.
A downgrade, if it was even possible, from the main collection. So defensive rocks, shutout superstars, they're pretty cool. I'll show a shutout superstar for you. Who's this? This is ter Stegen, a fantastic goalkeeper. Third best in the world, behind Alisson and Oblak, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, they're cool, nice green design. Defensive rocks has a yellowish design to the background.
I like the fact that Topps have tried to be a little bit creative, and 2 different subsets, 2 new subsets. In the green background, there's a little bit of a netting, which is quite nice, and on the back of the defensive, or on the background of the defensive rock cards, it's sort of a bit of a wall, which is quite nice. Draws images of someone trying to break down a wall with a football, which is quite cool.
Yeah. I see. I didn't notice that. That's that you learn something new every day, as they say in the industry. But yeah, I think the gold designs in this collection, obviously, they're more sought after because there's less gold insert cards, and this is what they had to do with the main collection. So this brings back up their rating from downgrading the MVP. So they've done well here. I'm going for an 8 out of 10, possibly a 9. They've done really well. They've got various designs. They haven't reused them. They've reused the gold template, but the actual designs behind the cards are really creative and new subsets. We like a new subset.
We do. I think probably if we're going to be picking, 8.5 would be fair. I think I love the new subsets. I love some of the innovation. I like the fact they're a little bit more difficult to find and get hold of. For me overall, like them. I think that's a fair reflection.
Absolutely. So 100 clubs, they're the same design, really nicely designed, and it's another 11 players. Got a few different players in there. Neymar, really happy he got 100 club. He's very rarely seems to get 100 club in match tax, which is bizarre, really, let's be honest. I suppose he's been overshadowed by the likes of Mbappe, Messi, Suarez even throughout his career. Eden Hazard earning 100 club as well. Obviously he's been getting ones in the Premier League collections in the past. Mo Salah, obviously, because Topps love Mo Salah. De Bruyne, another Premier League player. I'm really glad they put Oblak in. I am going to show Oblak because he is the best goalkeeper in the world, and they've done him justice here. They obviously gave Alisson a 100 club in the main collection, and now they've gone to Oblak.
No, I think that's a fantastic addition. And I think for me that one player that never seems to get enough recognition, I'm glad he did, was this man, Robert Lewandowski. He very rarely is, obviously there's some great strikers in world football, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, all seem to, be well recognised. But Lewandowski's always consistent, and I was pleased that Topps decided to recognise that.
Absolutely. What I'm glad about is that they've made the gold inserts a bit more sought after, which works. There's the only silver insert cards, I believe, are man of the matches, aren't they?
And super boosts.
Super boosts.
I will show you now. I've got N'Golo Kante here. Again, the whole concept behind this card from Topps is that they try and boost the ratings of some of the original base cards in the main set to give them a bit of an upgrade based on their performances in the Champions League. Obviously, N'Golo Kante got an upgrade as a fantastic player. The design of the card itself I quite like, along the side with the Super Boost arrows. I think it's quite simple. Obviously in the background there's the arrows in the colours of the team as well, which is quite cool. So yeah, nice little addition. I don't think they were too hard to get hold of either. Again, a little bit of variance is always nice, always welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. But there is another major error with this collection, and that was the distribution of the Europa League away kits and Super Boost, I think, or was it Superstar Strikers?
It was the away kits and the Superstar Strikers, yeah.
They needed to tell people that they were going to release these specific cards in a multi-pack at the start, because people were panicking. That's a big error on Topps' part, and they know it's a big error, but potentially I'd say that's a good idea for the next collection. If they market it properly, they have to tell people where the specific cards are going to be found. But yeah, it was Champions League away kits, that's it. Champions League away kits and the Champions League Super Boost, or was it Europa League? Oh yeah, Superstar.
Yeah, because they included both the Europa League away kits and the Europa League Superstar Strikers in packets. But then obviously, like you say, there was that expectation that people were going to get the other cards, the Champions League versions of those cards, in the packets as well, and obviously it didn't appear. And it took a little while for them to get the message out. But like you say, I think that the multi-pack idea was a good one. And had they marketed it at the beginning, I think people wouldn't have had any issue. So again, something that perhaps Topps can build on in the future.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's a good idea, but yeah, just needs a little bit more work, bit of refining, and then it'll be fine. Bit more marketing, as they say. So Club Heroes was another base set. Only 5 of them to collect: Edison, Mane, Griezmann, Benzema, Cavani. Bit random, not going to lie, they just chucked in there at the end. Bit pointless, really. I'd say that's a 3 out of 10 in terms of a subset. Some very odd choices. Oh no, it was not necessarily odd choices, but just a bit of a random subset, not going to lie. But Power Play insert cards, these were found in the starter pack, if I'm not mistaken. And they're really nice. They are really nice, really nicely designed. Fantastically designed subset found within the starter pack. They've got to be using these sort of designs in packs as well. They really do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just think that, again, a little bit of innovation, well designed, good choice of players. I really like them. I'd give them probably a 9 out of 10 for design. I really do think they're excellent.
Absolutely. They're using players which not necessarily would get an insert card as well, which is fantastic. And that's something they do quite a lot in Match Tax 101, which we'll quickly cover at the end of this podcast. But I hope you're enjoying this podcast, by the way. Do smash the like button. Obviously, subscribe to the channel and donate. Feel free to donate to help us out to make future podcasts in the future. Obviously, there's 2 last designs to look at in this. Limited editions are exactly the same. Don't need to have a look at them. There's the title winner cards and the champion cards. So if I get a champion out, and there we go. So we've got champion Sergio Busquets there. Really nicely designed. Again, a fantastic subset. It's a nice rainbow foil kind of texture here. It's really nice. It's a really nice subset. And I think this has potential to be like an insert card in a base set, like a star player kind of thing. I like that.
No, I agree. I like the detail. I like the fact that there's a number of titles that particular players have won, and I think it could be quite a niche set as well, because obviously there aren't loads of players that have won Champions League titles, or certainly multiple Champions League titles. So I think there's potential there in the future. Here's the title winner cards. I think there's only 4 of these, and I think they were all from Liverpool, from winning the Champions League last season. I've got Alisson. Slightly different design. They're sort of a more of a turquoisey blue, quite basic. Just detailed the year that they won the Champions League, really. Not much more to them, but nice little addition, really.
Absolutely. That's that. Obviously, there is the title winner Mo Salah 101 card. I'll just quickly show here, which is exactly the same design as the other title winners. This is the first ever blue limited edition card, which is fantastic. It's a nice little collector's piece, but if we have to rate this collection out of 10, now there's a few errors, there's a few marketing errors, there's a few downgrades, and there's obviously the big Varane gate, essentially. I'd probably have to give this collection a 6 out of 10. 1 up from the main collection.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's a step in the right direction, isn't it? I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Some really good elements, some really nice designs. and then, as you say, some errors, some problems along the way. But yeah, I'd say 6 is fair.
Absolutely. So, 2 collections reviewed so far. Match ATTAX, the main collection, is a 5 out of 10. Match ATTAX Extra, 6 out of 10. Moving on, Match ATTAX 101. Now, we'll cover this fairly swiftly because it's quite a small collection. There's not many card designs to be found, but obviously there is the sticker cards, the first ever edition of sticker cards. Now, here's Kai Havertz as a sticker. Obviously, you found these in every single pack, 2 in every deluxe pack, retailing at £2 per piece. They've got the Topps index in the bottom left there, and you stick these into the sticker album, which you obviously get in every starter pack. You just peel it off very nicely, bang, there's Kai Havertz World Star to put into your binder. So it's 2 in 1 essentially, a sticker album and a trading card binder, and I really like it. The one thing I do have to critique these sticker cards is that they cover up 100 clubs, and we know 100 clubs are sought after, and we don't want them to be covered up, do we? But it's a good idea. It really is.
To set, I think fair play to Topps. I think those that collected Match ATTAX before know that Match ATTAX 101 last year was possibly a little bit disappointing, and I think a lot of people had written this set off before they'd even heard what was going to be in it. And when I received my order of stuff, wow, just the card designs, the sticker cards, what a fantastic idea. Topps are really onto a winner there. There's so much potential for that in the future. There's so much that can be done. There's so many different directions that can be taken. I just think it's brilliant. I think there's so much potential, as I say. Fantastic.
This is just a bit of a spoiler. This is the best collection of Topps' year. It really is. Yeah. This and obviously their sticker album they released for the Champions League, I'd say are the best 2 collections. Best sticker album and their best trading card collection. It is fantastic. It looks really nice. Just showing you the front page of the top 9 with obviously Messi, Van Dijk, Ronaldo, Lewandowski there, Mbappe, Salah, Mane, Sterling and Kane. Obviously the top 10 were 100 clubs, but it is fantastic. It's a really nice design. They've done so well with this. Go on.
For me, it's the attention to detail. It's the little things that I think they've done really well in the set, from the flags in the backgrounds of the cards to the fact that, I don't know whether you've noticed, but for the top 10 players, the foil around the Topps index at the bottom left is gold. It moves on to silver for the 11 through to 30, and then obviously bronze for the players beyond that. I just think they've done such a fantastic job. I think they should be really pleased with how this has come out, and I think there's, as I said before, potential and lots of positives here that I hope to see in future collections.
Absolutely, you're spot on. I love the transition from gold to silver in terms of the sticker cards, and then it goes to the other insert World Star cards, which weren't the sticker. They didn't quite make the sticker collection, bless them. But it all looks fantastic. It all together looks fantastic, and it's all the best players in the world, and everyone loves getting all those players in one collection. Not necessarily in clubs, in team sets, but all scattered around in amongst each other. And it's a good talking point as well, this collection, because arguably they have got quite a few of these ratings wrong in terms of where they are in the world standings. For example, Mbappe is only 5th in the world, behind Van Dijk and Ronaldo, which is kind of questionable. Ronaldo obviously has been, he's arguably the GOAT. Messi is definitely number 1, but Van Dijk is, I know I'm being a bit positionist here, but he's not better than Mbappe. Mbappe's class.
Mbappe's the next big thing in the world, isn't he? I suppose my question for you, Jack, is, obviously we've talked about how much we like the foil cards, but which is your favourite sort of base set in terms of different subsets that are available?
So obviously the base cards are actually really nice as well in terms of the World Stars. That it works as a shiny card and a base card, which is fantastic. We haven't seen stuff like that before. So I'm just going through all these. The Club Heroes, I think they're the worst. I think Club Heroes are a bit bland with the Club Hero in the bottom left. It's all a bit grey. It's all a bit tin pot. I'd say that's the worst subset, but it's still cool. It is still cool, and I've got a really big emphasis on the club or their nationality in the background, which I really like having nationalities on cards because I think it's educational as well as well, it looks cool as well. Countries' flags are cool, let's be honest. But in terms of my favourite base card design, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to say Collector's Team of the Season. I think it's fantastic. Imagine if they were foil cards. Can you imagine? They would look incredible.
They would, to be fair. I think I quite like the fact as well that it's been a while since Topps have done this, but this was a sort of a subset that. Again, I don't mean subset in the usual sense because they're inserting the same rate as all the other base cards, but a base subset where the fans have voted on them, and I think it's been a long time since there's been a fan vote on cards featuring in a particular set. So I think credit to Topps for that. So it's a great addition, and I can 100% see why that's your favourite. For me, I really love the midfield masters. Just the purple design, the sort of the flashes of gold running through it, and obviously the sort of the player being at the forefront of the card and then also in the background. I just love it. I just think it's really nice. But I can totally understand why that's your favourite, Jack.
Yeah, they are really nice. They've done really well with the base cards, the shiny cards in this, the choices as well in terms of defensive dynamos, the shutout superstar. There's some unique names in here, and that's a big thing I have to say for this collection. The names they've chosen for certain subsets are fantastic. We're talking Marchesín. Not many young collectors will have known of that fella, the Porto goalkeeper, of course, but they're introducing new names. Onana as well. You know, obviously he had a fantastic year last year with Ajax in the Champions League. If we move on to midfield masters, Kai Havertz, the next big midfielder. That's definitely happening.
Set in stone, that.
Yeah. In terms of superstar strikers, we've got, I know there's Jimenez. Yeah, I suppose they're all quite standard. Sancho, you know, obviously he's got a card in the main collection in terms of limited edition, but it is really nice. It is fantastic. Collector's Team of the Season, as we know, is looking fantastic. We've got Alisson, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, De Bruyne, Mane, De Jong, Messi, Mbappe, Ronaldo and Salah. And then the young player of the season, Onana, Militao, Havertz again, and Mbappe. So it looks really nice. And then obviously there's the golden moments, which also look really cool. They're not as good as the World Stars, I have to say. I don't like the spotted design in the background. I think that's a bit weak. But again, it's a good idea. There's potential.
Definitely, and I think it's quite nice. I think for those that have collected the cards for a long time, golden moments are something that sort of Topps used maybe 7-8 years ago, and then sort of parked to one side. So it's nice to see them come back in a different form. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't like the spotted design, but the rest of the card is good. I like it.
Limited editions is a little bit different in this collection. Again, really nice. I like it. It's really good quality actually. Really nice embossing and texture on the front. I'm showing Mbappe Gold Limited Edition here. Really nice. They've done a fantastic job. I like how the player is kind of got a glow around him. That's really nice. That's just my inner designer coming out there. I just think this is the best collection Topps have done in the last 2 or 3 years. I think it is fantastic. And there's potential. Add legend cards. I'm saying it again and again. Legend cards have to come back into Match ATTAX because they are awesome. We love a legend card. And especially Champions League legends like Zidane. Who else? Nesta. Gattuso. Some good players.
Yeah, I love the set. I think you're quite right. I think definitely one of the best Topps have produced in a long time. And as you say, there's so much potential here to carry things forward into next year. I just really hope that they take some of this potential forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just showing some of the Match ATTAX Masters, which are in a Megatin. Yeah, they're in a Megatin.
Yes.
And then the Match ATTAX Superstars found in a starter pack. Yeah. And again, some really cool names. Mancini as a superstar. I like that. Danilo. Tony Cruz. He's criminally underrated. In terms of the
Masters as well. Oh, sorry,
yeah, absolutely.
It's the same. Yeah. Alex Tellez getting a feature. Lucas Hernandez. Even Ruben Neves. Players that you don't, always get the exposure that they deserve in some of these sets. Getting, subset cards, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But obviously, if we show off the the sticker album. Really nicely designed. Got a load of stats in there, golden moments, Europa League. Obviously, you've got all of the Europa League stickers in the starter pack, which is cool. Saves a bit of time. But yeah, overall, I'd give that collection a solid 9 out of 10. Would I give it a 9? 8.5. 8.5, I think that's about right, because there is a potential. There's some weak designs in there, but as we keep saying, there is potential. What would you say out of 10?
I think pretty spot on. I think 8.5, 8, 9, anywhere around that mark. You could argue for it and make a strong case. I think so much potential. There's always room for improvement in any set. Collectors always want more. So I can understand that. So I'd agree. I think Topps done a superb job there. Hats off to them. Credit where credit's due. I like it.
Absolutely. So, well, I mean that's it. That wraps up the first episode of the Football Card Podcast. So, the overall ratings: ATTAX main collection got a 5, Extra got a 6, 101 got an 8.5 out of 10. So a big step up. That's 3.5 ratings higher. If I can do, no, it's not. It's 2.5. I can't do maths. We'll learn how to do maths before the next podcast, which I can tell you now is going to be a YouTuber, or football card YouTuber tier list. So that's exciting. I'm excited to do that. But Toby, thank you very much for joining us.
No, absolute pleasure. Looking forward to more of these, and don't forget to sort of comment, subscribe to GBW. We love to see it.
So yeah, make sure to go and follow Football Collectibles. There'll be a link in the description. That's Toby's Instagram page. He'll be posting some of his cool cards on there, like the Jordi Alba card. I'm sure that will make its way onto there at some point. But yeah, make sure to vote in the comments section. What was your favourite collection this year? Do you agree with our ratings? What would you like to see improved? And maybe we'll pass on this information to Topps, because we do have good contacts with them. And in future podcasts, maybe we do get some of the Topps geezers on the podcast. You never know. But hope you did enjoy this video. If you want to see more podcasts in the future, make sure to smash the like button. Subscribe to the GBW YouTube channel while you're there. Follow Football Collectibles, link in the description. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.